Hi guys, welcome back to Harry Makes It Up. Today I have my lovely friend Sibley with me. We're going to do a really beautiful, very low-key and simply elegant, kind of lavender, cool toned, what could be a great bridal makeup or special occasion evening makeup. And before I start with the makeup, I just want to tell you guys as well, later this evening at 6 PM GMT, I'm also doing a live webinar. So it'll go through to YouTube. So make sure you're subscribed to me, and you can also sign up to the webinar link below. And if you sign up to the link, then you're able to chat with us on Chatango while the webinar is happening. And I'm doing the webinar with my sister, who is from Lula and Rye, Lucy. And we're going to do a webinar all about how to kind of make your wedding budget, like really stretch it so you save money, so where you can save money on your makeup, props. Lucy's going to show you how to make these amazing like DIY lanterns. I'm going to show you how to get professional makeup without paying for a makeup artist. And there's just going to be loads and loads of tips and tricks about kind of weddings and special occasions and events. So whether you've got a garden party coming up, maybe you're going to be a bridesmaid at someone else's wedding, or you are a bride and you're getting married, please come and hang out with us later today, 6 PM GMT. And the link is in the description box. So go sign up to that link, and then you can come and do live Q&A with us as well later. And yeah, I hope to see you at the webinar. It's been really fun, loads of tips and advice on how to save money, and it's just been really fun because I'm with my sister as well. So definitely come to that later, and on with the video. So first thing I'm going to start with, on my gorgeous model Sibley, is some of the Oskia Get Up and Glow. And if you do have slightly more oily skin, I would just go straight to the kind of serum step or the primer step, and avoid any moisturiser. So I'm just going to work from the centre of the face. And this does have a little bit of glow, which is nice, and it just kind of gives back to the skin if you've been sort of lacking sleep and a little bit stressed with work. So I'm just going to pop a little bit of the Clarins lip balm. This one is the moisture replenishing lip balm, just so when we come to lips they're all done. And then the foundation I'm going to use on Sibley is the Giorgio Armani Luminous Silk, which you guys know I love. This is great for special occasions or anywhere where you're going to have flash photography as well. So, and it does come in a really good range of shades as well. And I'm using shade 7 on Sibley. So I'm going to use the MAC 168, and I'm just going to use this from the centre of the skin outwards. And I'm going a little bit warmer on Sibley's face because her body's actually a little bit warmer. You said you've been on holiday recently, haven't you, Sibley? Yeah. And you kept your face out of the sun, which is very well behaved.
It is, for me especially.
So I'm just doing buffing motions. And I find with the Giorgio Armani foundation, you really can get away with kind of a synthetic brush or a natural fibre brush. So you get quite a lot of choice on how you want to apply this foundation. And because Sibley's got such great skin, I'm just starting in the centre and then working outwards. And just make sure you're kind of buffing through the hairline so there's no evidence of the foundation. So just blending down the neck a little bit as well, just to where kind of Sibley gets a little bit more warmth and colour. So then Sibley has brows to be envious of, very much so. One of the reasons when I first met her, I couldn't stop looking at her brows. I was like, oh my goodness, I want to paint your face. So she's very kindly let me today. And I'm just going to add a little bit of just sort of like subtle tidying to the brows using the Elizabeth Arden Beautiful Colour Natural Eyebrow Pencil. And I'm just going to turn you that way a little bit for me, Sibley. So first I'm just going to give a groom, which will just enable me to see where the gaps are. So I can just look where I'm going to fill in. And this has got a really teeny tiny nib, so I'm just going to use this where there's gaps. And I find it works best if you kind of follow the natural direction that the hairs are going. So kind of go with the hair rather than against it. And as you get towards the inner part of the eyebrow, do an even smaller motion and kind of a lighter application, just so it stays looking natural. And then just with the end here, so just with the corner, I'm just kind of grooming up a little bit and just softening that arch a little bit, but again, not letting it get too blocky. And then I'm just pulling it out ever so slightly, so you can see that just kind of, if you were to hold the pencil here now, the end of the brow just fits really well there, so that it kind of completes the brow, but it still looks all like it's part of Sibley's natural brow. So I'm going to take a bit of the Urban Decay Primer Potion, so if you close your eyes for me, Sibley, so just to prep them ready for some eyeshadow, and you can just use your finger, just to kind of smooth this over the lid. And if you have really oily eyelids, you can also put a little bit of this under the eye as well, just to make sure kind of any of your underneath eyeshadow doesn't move about. So I'm going to keep this quite cool toned, guys, and a little bit more on the kind of lavender shady, which is going to be really pretty and very soft. So although you can wear this for kind of summer, it's also really nice kind of a winter special occasion as well. And I'm going to take this gorgeous palette from Elizabeth Arden, and it's the Sunset Bronze Prismatic Eyeshadow Palette, which is just beautiful. And I'm going to start with this kind of grey mauve shade, which is really, really kind of one of those universal shades that suits everyone. So if you close for me, Sibley. And I really feel like these kind of shades where it's kind of like the greys and the mauves, they almost like a really good replacement neutral. So if you're bored of like browns or beiges, try using kind of like a mauve or a taupey mauve as a neutral, and it's really, really flattering. So I'm just applying this with an Estee Lauder synthetic brush first. Just getting a bit of the product into the lid. And then I'm just taking a soft silver brush, just like a buffing brush, just to buff that up past the socket. So it's like a wash of colour. And make sure you keep the majority of the pigment near the lower lash line, the bottom of the lash line, just so it stays where there's the most pigment, and just buff that out. It's such a pretty colour. So going back to that palette as well, still keeping with the mauvey kind of smoky grey. And if I turn you that way a little bit, Sibylle, and just look up for me, you can take a little bit of that under the eye, but not too much. I'm just taking it more kind of that outer third. And then what I'm going to do, there's this really gorgeous purple shade, and I'm going to do, just spray the brush wet a little bit. So I've got a little bit of the Kiehls Cactus Flower Hydrating Mist, and I'm just going to dampen my brush slightly and go in with a smaller brush, so almost make like an eyeliner out of the eyeshadow. So just spraying my brush wet, and I'm going to use that really, really pretty, brighter kind of purple plummy shade. And I'm just going to roll that along the bottom of the lash line. And the great thing about this kind of technique is you just don't have to be perfect at kind of applying eyeshadow or eyeliner. It's just really super easy. So you can even just do little small dots and kind of run the brush along the lash line. And I'm just kind of flicking it upwards as I do it. But it also gives a little bit of highlight and kind of slight metallic finish, which is really pretty. And it just kind of accents the grey, smoky, purpley mauve. Very pretty.
It's a good way to introduce colour, I think.
Yeah, it's a really good way. Can you close me down? And also, if you just lift your lid slightly, it means you can get the product right into the lashes, so you don't get that kind of little bit of skin that doesn't quite catch the eyeshadow. Don't worry if anything drops down, that's why I always do the concealer last. And with a tiny bit left on the brush, if you just look up, let me see if I can take the tiniest bit just into the outer corner as well. And I'm just kind of pushing that into the bottom lashes. So it's very subtle, but just really pretty. So then just to make the eyes last really, really well, you just want to do thin layers, and I love adding a little bit of Khol into the eyeshadow, especially kind of around the roots of the eyelashes. So this is a gorgeous colour from Clarins. It's like another smoky, plummy grey, and this is called the Crayon Khol in Smoky Plum. So I'm just going to warm it up a little bit first on the back of my hand. Find if my Khols have been a little bit cold in my suitcase, they do get a little bit stiffer, so you can just warm them up. So if you close me down, so literally, this isn't really about the colour, it's more about just giving a little bit of darkness to the bottom lash line and the top lash line. And then I'm literally just kind of taking that pencil and just drawing out a little bit further past Sibylle's eyes, just so it elongates a little bit. And then just using the brush to make sure, again, that pencil line kind of flicks up so that it doesn't pull the eyes downwards. And close me down. And then there's a little brush on the end of this pencil, which is really good. So I'm just using that again, just to make sure it all blends really nicely and softly. So for lashes, I'm going to take Bobbi Brown Smoky Eyes Mascara. So I'm going to turn you that way, my love, and look up for me. And I'm going to do a little bit on the bottom, because I think it's nice just to open the eyes up a little bit more with mascara on the bottom. And this is quite a nice mascara I find for top and bottom lashes. So I'm just giving Sibylle's eyes a quick curl, just so they're nice and awake. And you've actually got really long lashes, Sibyle. It's like when you curl them, you really see how long they are. Amazing. And going back in with that Bobbi Brown Smoky Eye Mascara again. So I'm going to turn you that way a little bit and look down. And I'm just going to make sure I kind of nestle that in at the roots and give a good few coats. Okay, so I'm going to take a bit of the Ford Concealing Pen, if I turn you that way a little bit, Sibyle, and just head up for me. So I'm going to just start dotting this on from the little sponge applicator. And I'm just going to pull down a little bit. And I'm just doing a little bit under the eyes, and I'm going to use a little bit around the nose as well. Just
got
to
a
take
scar
away.
there.
Oh, I couldn't even see it. I love scars though. I always think they're like really unique and like part of the... I've got a Harry Potter scar on my head.
Oh, so do I. I've got one here.
You have as well. I love that, matching scars.
No, I got that one from the Christmas party.
Oh, well, I think mine was when I was a child. I headbutted a seesaw.
Oh wow.
Which is very impressive. So I'm just taking a Real Technique setting brush and I'm just kind of buffing that into the eyes. And you know my trick, guys, you can always cheat your eyeshadow or liner by using your concealer brush just to kind of flick up on the outer corner, which always gives a little bit of extra lift and a little bit of shape to the skin. So then I'm going to take a bit of Lychee Blossom, which is one of these lovely kind of liquid gel moussey kind of blushes, which is from the Body Shop, and this is a really, really lovely pinky colour. So it's going to keep it quite cool toned, but it's just going to give a nice bit of sheen to the cheeks, and then I'm going to add some powder afterwards. If I turn you that way a little bit, Sibley. And I'm just using the same brush that I had my foundation on, just so it kind of blends it in as it goes. And I'm just using that on the apples and upwards of the cheeks. So you can see it's quite cool tone. It just gives a little bit of a flush to the skin, but it still looks very, very natural. And then I'm just going to add a little bit of powder, and this is a Chantecaille Compact Makeup in Peach, which is really soft. And I'm just going to use a Japanese art shop brush. Just knocking a little bit of the excess off. And I'm just going to take down any of the shining places where I don't want it. I still want to keep the cheeks nice and glowing, but just kind of in the centre of the face and the chin. And sometimes even just kind of down this area. I feel like it can sometimes benefit from a little bit of powder if you do have slightly more oily skin. And look up for me, Sibley. So I'm just taking a little bit of that to set under the eyes. And again, just down the nose as well. So mostly kind of like in the T-zone. So I'm going to take the Smashbox lipstick in Rosewood, and this is like a lovely kind of pinky brownie nude. So I'm just going to take that. It's very close to the natural shade of Sibley's lips. So I'm just going to pop that all over, just to even out the tone of the lips. But I think especially if you have like an olivey skin tone, this would be a great nude lipstick. And then I'm going to take the tiniest bit of lip pencil. I'm just going to take a little bit of Gosh in Nougat Crisp, which is a really pretty shade, just to do a little bit of shape work, but ever so subtly. And so that's the finished look, guys. A really nice way to use kind of greys and mauves as a nice alternative to kind of browns and taupes as neutrals. Really universally flattering on everyone. Hope you guys like the look. Make sure you subscribe and like, and I'll see you soon for more videos. Thanks very much, guys. Bye.